We had a huge shift in 2015. So over the years, we started seeing a rise in family homelessness, if you will. And, a lot of that happened even after the Great Recession, if you will, of, 2008, 2009. And so there was a rise in family homelessness. And we saw that, we recognized where there was an area of need, and we came to fill that void and help serve. So everything that we do now focuses on the health and the well-being of the family to try to be able to break the cycle of poverty and homelessness for the next generations. My name is Asha Norrell Ferguson, and I'm the Chief Development Officer for COTS. I serve COTS by helping to support our initiatives through fundraising, helping to advocate for the agency, and helping to spread the stories and share the conversations surrounding poverty and homelessness as we help families to overcome. To speak to our mission, we exist to provide an array of services to help families find affordable and safe housing. We also try to help them towards self-sufficiency. We try to help families on their path towards self-sufficiency. In addition to that, we also help to serve as advocates to the problems surrounding the broader issue of homelessness and poverty in the city of Detroit. But I should want to try to make sure we... Thank you.
Ms. Hightower to the front desk, please. Ms. Hightower to the front desk.
Okay. This is a bit all over the place right now. Everything that's in this space, the families are able to take as they need. If they have a need for clothing or for their children, for themselves. There are oftentimes suits in here for some of the ladies when it comes to interviewing or clothes for interviews, shoes, things of that nature. They're welcome to come and take it as they desire. So our emergency shelter, I'll go back, our emergency shelter serves families. It's a family-only emergency shelter, and families can make up and be comprised of any kind of structure. So whether that's a two-parent household, a single-parent household, we serve families in our emergency shelter. Our agency as a whole provides housing support not only to families, but to single men and single women that need housing assistance. That is done through the continuum of care, and there are other organizations that serve them by way of shelter, but then refer them to our permanent supportive housing programs for the housing assistance. So we work in this network, if you will, that the city has. The population that we serve is primarily comprised of single mothers. We do serve some single fathers. We serve some two-parent households as well, but primarily single mothers and their children. On any given day, our shelter can have upwards of 75 to 100 children. And whereas we used to, be an agency that served primarily single men and single women, with some families, we might have had 5, 10, 15 kids in the shelter at one time. We've really shifted into being an organization that serves families as a whole, and that's a big focus of children's services.
Mm-hmm. Has there been any opposition, for example, the surrounding business that want to get you out of here, or maybe some offers as far as purchasing the building?
So I can't speak directly to specific offers, but I am certain, I know that we've received them. I think anybody in this particular area that has property has likely received those. But our CEO has always been, just very determined and dedicated to staying in the heart of the city where we've been for 35 years and continuing to support the people that have been part of this community. Families have been a part of this community for years and years and years. And just because we've got all of these amazing shifts happening in the city doesn't mean that we should be forcing families out. See, this will be our new emergency shelter space. This used to be our transitional housing. And transitional used to serve single women and families, single mothers and their children, for up to 2 years of support, providing supportive service and subsidized rental payments until they were able to find themselves stabilized. And one of the things that we noticed is that transitional housing wasn't as supportive as it should have been. So we are moving our emergency shelter to this space. It'll be a more modern, more comfortable family space for our families to be served. We operate as a a network, if you will, of support services in the city. Every shelter service does that, and as a housing support agency, we receive referrals from the shelter services for those that need housing support and housing assistance. If you need assistance by way of shelter, they have to work through the continuum of care, which is the CAM system. It's the coordinated assessment model, and that address for families, they have to go to 1600 Porter Street and do an assessment there, share their need, their concerns, their circumstances, if you will, and then they would refer them to the shelter that can suit their needs or fit their needs as rapidly as possible. Sometimes that's COTS, sometimes that's another organization. Our website is www.cotsdetroit.org, and I welcome anyone to call me with questions as well, and I can be reached at 313-576-0206.